Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. A very quick kitchen time. Back on Sunday. What day is it today? Monday. Yesterday we looked at some problem plants, of which this was one. This is my Dendrobium glomeratum that won't grow. And it's making an attempt to grow, and I don't want to hinder it. So given what's happened to one or two orchids in the past, where they stop growing on a mount, there's been a problem with the actual mount itself, and this is one of those that won't grow, and it may well have that problem with the mount. I don't know whether this is true or not, and I won't know until I get the plant off. The mount is soggy. I won't say it's rotten yet, but it's soggy, and this plant has refused to grow for some considerable time. So we'll get this old moss off. It is old, and it does smell very Fausty, is the expression. As if this will let go. Why don't you let go? Oh, I see why. It's a great big knot in it. Right, let's got that out of the way now. Let's get this moss off, first job. Then we can see what's left. Yeah, I've seen root bases like this before, where they're not growing and they've died back, and in a lot of cases they hinder the progress of new roots. This moss is just compacted. I'm keeping my eye out for live roots, because this little piece of plant has started to produce, well, it started to produce some roots and then they stopped. So we had some progress and then it just stopped. And as you can see, I mean, there's a white root there. That's now been damaged where it came off the mount. But nonetheless, it's a branching root system, so that has the capability of getting going again. What I want is the central base of this plant. The roots are dead and they're forming like a solid mass under the base of the plant, and that's got moss that's gone off in it as well, which is also right at the base of the plant. I think that's about all I can take off. Right, canes are coming off. Somebody said I ought to put them on the moss and see if I can get some kikis to grow. Well, I have trays of moss in there doing nothing. I can lay those on there and see what happens. I wouldn't hold your breath, personally. Now I'm going to take most of the old roots off. Shock horror, I hear you say. Well, they're not working, these roots. Yeah, they're not growing and they're not working. The plant is showing serious signs of dehydration in as much as it won't grow. It won't get going. So something's not right. It may well be the older roots are hindering it. It's not a common occurrence, but it does happen where the old root system are holding on to the moss. What I want left is the new part of the plant. Yeah, not the old part. I don't want the old part of the plant, because that's the part of the plant that won't grow. So I'm going to take it all off. Right back. Hard pruning. Like that. Right, so now we have some nice white roots. I'm going to cut the tip of that one off because it got damaged. It left a piece behind on the on the mount. Now we've got our 2 new shoots. There's actually 3 there. There was 4, 1 died back. You can possibly just about see it there. So 1 didn't make it. And 3 did, but then they just stopped growing. So there's no vigour, there's no oomph in this plant at all. So I'm hoping we can recreate that. So I'm still picking at this base here because I don't really know what it is. Is it some old media from when I got it? It's difficult to say, but it's sort of soft. Right, so that will do, or I'll end up damaging the good roots that I have got. Not that there's many of them. So there we go. That's what we've got left. Tiny little plant. That's, you know, look like a seedling. Like starting again. And it will take a long time to get a cane big enough to actually bloom. But we'll give it a go. And we'll see what we get. Now this is just going in coconut husk and, well, with a bit of charcoal, but I'm not going to bother with bark or anything. I'm just going to get these roots in a moist environment and see if they'll pick up. So I'm going to grab a handful and then I'm going to take out what I don't want, which is big pieces, and I don't want too much of the strandy stuff. This has never been sorted out, this bag, you know, into big bits, small bits. So I don't want big bits, and I don't want too much of this fibrous stuff in there. I don't mind a bit, you know, it holds moisture and it's capable of helping to generate new roots. So I'll cut up some of these big bits. So that wasn't the scissors cutting me saying ow, that was the handle that pinched my finger, where they suddenly snapped together. So I want this media quite small and compact. As I said, it does lend itself to cutting it up into quite small pieces, and then we get quite a tight base, you know, around the in the base of the plant, keeping it moist, but with air, you know, not shutting the air out, which can quite easily happen with moss. Right, so let's see what we can do. It's only a tiny little pot, so I only need a little bit, but I think I'm going to need a bit more than that. I've had a few more small bits in here. Yeah, that'll do. And a bit of charcoal. I would say it's probably not necessary to put any charcoal in a little pot like this, because 2 things are going to happen now. Either this plant's going to go backwards and die, or it's going to progress and start to grow more vigorously, in which case it's obviously not going to stay in this tiny little pot very long. So it's not like this media is going to go off, because it won't get chance. As I said, the plant will either get thrown away because it's died, or it will progress, in which case it'll need a bigger pot quite quickly. Right. So I've got one long root there. Not got much to go on here really. But I think, you know, on a mount, obviously it's spending periods dry. Whereas now, hopefully it won't. It'll have constant moisture around the base, and hopefully that'll trigger some more root growth on top of what it's already got, which is some, but not much. And I've decided that quite a few of these kitchen sessions have become rather long, because I like doing lots of things at once, which suits me because there's only one lot of stuff to get out and one lot of mess to clear up. Now, I quite like working like that, but it makes for videos that are not that watchable because they are just too long. So by cutting down the number of plants in each one to less, then they'll be shorter. So there we are. Couple more little bits as they're there. So that's it. It's not compressed, it's not packed in. It's relatively loose. The base of the plant is in contact. The white roots are in the media, including that long one somewhere in there. So that's that. That's Dendrobium glomeratum that will hopefully now get some vigour back and start to grow, or out you go. Those are your choices, matey. Okay, nice quick one. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.